This episode of the Simon Racing Report is brought to you by the SimonRacingReport.com. That's the podcast's website. You can find the links to the YouTube channel, iTunes, Stitcher, the RSS feed. It's all there on the homepage, as well as the podcast's Facebook page. And you can also follow me on Twitter at JohnnyS8, JONNYESS8. Straight to the podcast now. Greger Huttu is the Michael Jordan of sim racing, the Wayne Gretzky of sim racing. I might have been forgetting some other. The Pele. Is Pele the greatest of all time? The Messi, Ronaldo? I don't know. I might be getting myself in trouble with the football world there. But he is definitely the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I've been looking forward to this podcast since pretty much this podcast was in planning. I mean, Greger Huttu is one of the guests that I said, I've got to get on during the history of this podcast at least once. And he's definitely always happy to talk. He's got a great sense of humor. And let's get straight to it. The podcast with Greger Huttu, the GOAT. Welcome to the Simon Racing Report. Honored to have one of the greatest sim racers of all time, Greger Huttu. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Just a bit disappointed to miss the race yesterday, but other than that, yeah, I'm doing good. It's pretty hot here in Finland, so that's nice.
Yeah, it's the summer of July, the perfect time of the year. I feel like with all the world championships you've got and all the money, it's still not enough. You still have to work, don't you, in the summer? I heard you had a summer job that you do. And then what do you do in the winter? Are you unemployed during the winter?
No, actually, I'm working full time now on R Factor 2. I'm doing the UI for it, so yeah, doing that full time now, summer and winter. So
you might be involved in 7 of the top 20 sim racing moments of all time that I can think of. Can you name at least like 7 of those moments I'm mentioning?
That's a tough question.
Visa Vegas eRace. There's that.
Yeah.
There's World's Fastest Gamer, your 5 world championships. But this all started when... So you started in the late 80s, didn't you? Or 90s sim racing? You've been doing it for like almost 30 years now.
Yeah, it was in the 90s, I think. I think GPL was the first proper sim in like 1998. If we go even further back than that, I guess the first racing game that really got me hooked was F1 GP. And that was probably 91, 92, something like that. So I was 12 or 13 back then. So yeah, it's all been downhill from there.
GPL though, that's where you became, well, not the legend, but that's where you sort of were able to find out how quick you were compared to everybody else.
Yeah, I think that was that was the first multiplayer game for me. The first multiplayer racing game, so you get to compare with people from all over the world. So at first I wasn't really the fastest guy out there. I was pretty close, but there were a few guys that were really quick. So, but yeah, I was still kind of learning. I was first driving with a joystick, and then pretty early on in GPL, I switched to a wheel. So that took some time to get used to. But it was so much more immersive, and that really got me hooked into sim racing. So yeah, kind of kept improving, and then suddenly I found myself to be one of the fastest guys. So that was pretty exciting.
Did you earn the Momo? Everyone earned the Momo back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, at one point it was the Momo racing wheel. But my first wheel was a Trustmaster something. Had like a bungee cord and stuff like that. So
jeez,
it was a bit dodgy, but yeah, it was just so much more immersive than driving with a joystick. So
I noticed that too when I got my first wheel. Like I managed to drive with a joystick pretty well, but then the wheel, you're able to just have more fun and be more consistent. It's just like the real thing. I think if anybody wants to make progress in sim racing, if you're on a joystick or something, please stop doing that. Get a wheel.
Yeah.
Back then as well, you joined. So GPL was FSR on GPL back then.
No, I don't think it was.
It was on.
I did some FSR in early 2000s, I think, and that was the ISI F1 game. So
F1 challenge.
yeah, something like that. There was F1 2001, I think, and 2002. So one of those games.
You raced against Roy Colby back in the day, in I think 02. That dude was insanely quick. He's at he's at Positive Sim Racing now. The last I heard.
Oh yeah, I've seen him around a bit in, I think also in iRacing, but I haven't raced him since those days. So yeah, it's funny to see names from back then popping up every now and then. Seems like you can't let go of sim racing once you're in it. So.
Yeah, and then I heard, I don't know how you can explain this. You retired from FSR for unknown reasons. When people say unknown reasons, there's always something fishy going on behind the scenes. Do you still remember why you left FSR back then?
Yeah, I think I went for my military service. Yeah, I think that was the reason. Let's say that was the reason anyway.
So it could have been, could have not.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. I don't really remember that well, so.
Yeah, but the thing is, back then, like, you're not on the World Championship list for FSR, but I think if you would have completed that 03 season, you would have definitely been there. And FSR back then was, like, it was pretty much what we see now with the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix series. Like, it was the top level of sim racing out there in the world.
Yeah, pretty much. And the season I think I did the first 5 races, and we weren't doing like online racing back then because frankly the game sucked. I don't even remember if it had any online play, but if it did, it was really bad. So we actually raced against the AI, I think. And then you compared the race times to other people. So
oh wow.
So yeah, I think I won the first 4 races I did. And then at Monaco I crashed out, so then I quit. I rage quit. Yeah, I think it was military service that kind of cut the season short for me.
But wait a second, if you're racing against AI and you crashed at Monaco, you're too honest. If people said that was the rules with me, I would crash at Monaco and restart the race and tell everybody, "Oh, this is my first attempt. I won the race." And that's the way it goes. How did they use an anti-cheat system for this?
Yeah, I think we had some kind of a tool, so you had to start the program up when you started doing your race, and it would, kind of record the thing, so you couldn't have a restart and stuff. So I think it was something like that.
Yeah, until the AI accidentally take you out at turn 1, and you go, "Oh no, what the fuck's going on here?" That kind of shit. I know you raced against Ernesto De Angelis. Were you ever good friends with that guy? He looks like, I don't know if you've seen the Dos Equis commercials, but he looks like the most interesting man in the world from those Dos Equis commercials. He's like, he owns Netrex now. You raced for Netrex back in the day.
Yeah, I actually raced for him. I was in his team, so yeah. Back then I knew him quite well, and we used to talk every day, basically. So I don't know if he's still doing anything with sim racing. I've kind of had a chat or two with him over the years, but not for a while.
When I was in FSR, he was still owning Netrex. I don't know if he was involved in the day-to-day sort of running of the team, but he was certainly there because we'd see him on the forums every now and then. The forums were always the most entertaining part of FSR. It was never, even back then, like 15 years ago, it was never the racing that I found fun. It was just the arguments and people just trashing each other and the jokes, and it's all in a friendly kind of way. But I love the politics of sim racing. And that's why, I don't know if you agree with this, but like when you look at iRacing now and the World Championship, I've always compared this as sort of the IndyCar. I've said this a million times, by the way, for my listeners who always listen to me, but I'm coming to a point here. The World Championship Grand Prix series to me is like IndyCar. I feel like it's American run. It sort of has that American feel to it, whereas FSR was so independent and so political that it's like that to me was always the real Formula One. I don't know if you sort of agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I was in FSR for only quite a short time, but yeah, I know about the forum stuff and all the all that stuff going on. Yeah, I guess iRacing is kind of American run, and yeah, so yeah, I guess I agree with you there.
After that though, so you left FSR, you had the military service, apparent military service. I don't know if you're lying there, by the way, Greger. You could be.
I never lie.
Okay, I'll trust you. Regardless of that, over the years now, where did you go off to next? You didn't try Live for Speed, did you? Is that how you got into iRacing?
Yeah, I never really got into LFS. Of course, I tried it, you know, every now and then. But I don't know, there was something off about it. I mean, of course, the physics were really good back in the day. I don't know. It was just the cars and tracks that kind of sucked for me, to be honest. The sounds were horrible. So, yeah, after FSR, I mean, I think that was the time when I was starting to do some NASCAR power stuff. I think NASCAR 4 came out in 2001, something like that. So that was the first NASCAR game with the GPL physics engine. So, and at that time I was also kind of getting bored of GPL. 2002, I had been doing it for like 4 years or something. I wanted a new challenge, so I tried some NASCAR, and I mean that's really different. So fun to learn new things with that. So yeah, I did NASCAR for a couple of years.
Would you ever do double duty these days? Run the Peak Antifreeze series and the iWCGPS?
Probably not at the moment. I mean, I did the Pro series back, man, it was 10 years ago for the NASCAR stuff. So yeah. I was qualified for the World Championship as well. Of course, the races are at 4 a.m. or something for me. So I didn't do that first season of NASCAR World Championship. It would have been fun, but just impossible to do.
I always feel like not just you, but Hugo Luis as well, Martin Kroenke, like, I feel like you guys are perfectionists, because what happens is you won't just enter every single random race. You know, even if you look at your stats right now, all the races you do are just the World Championship. And yeah, it could be because you lack time, but I also feel like you would never enter a race if you weren't 100% prepared, or you would 100% enjoy it. You're not that guy that does 3 million races. Like, even if you look at your road career stats, you've only had 200 starts. Is that true, that you're sort of that perfectionist, or is there another reason why you haven't started many races?
Yeah, you know, that's kind of the reason. I want to be pretty competitive when I join a race, so I don't want to just join and crash out. So, but it's also, I mean, yeah, I've been doing this for like 20 years, so I'm not really into just doing some random races. And to be honest, in iRacing, there are not really like cars that I would really enjoy driving. I've been waiting for the Formula Renault 3.5 to come out, but seems like that's never happening. So I think I would race that car. Yeah, soon. I think I would race that car because mostly I'm an open wheel guy. I like racing open wheel cars, and there's not really a good selection of those. I mean, I used to do the Formula Mazda back in the day, 10 years ago. So, but that's, yeah, I don't really feel like doing that, racing that car again. But yeah, if there was some open wheel car around, I mean, there's the Indy car, but that's kind of complicated to set up. And like I said, I want to be at least on a decent pace before
Yeah.
I join a race. But I'm, you know, I don't need to be like winning to have fun. So yeah, I think it's mostly about having a car that I really enjoy driving. And like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years, so
You didn't enjoy you didn't enjoy rallycross, did you? I saw you did a rallycross race and you won. But that's, to me, is like, I commentate for the World Championship on that, and to me that's like one of the best racing series in all of esports at the moment.
yeah, rallycross can be exciting for the spectators at least, but
Not for you?
you know, it didn't really interest me that much. It's fun to drive and all, but I don't know what it is about it. I just like asphalt stuff more.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say what it is, but yeah.
So here's one of the biggest unknowns. If you had all the time in the world and the interest, and you raced a rallycross and the Peak Canterbury series, you could be multiple world champions in anything. Like, you're just that naturally quick. But then the reason why I think you wouldn't be world champion, to contradict that, is I don't think you'd enjoy yourself. Like, if you were running like 4 different series at the same time, I don't think you'd have as many world championships as you do at the moment.
Yeah, I think it would be too much. On the World Championship level, you just have to put in the practice and preparation. So it's really difficult to do more than 1 or 2 series. I mean, I used to do the GT3 stuff. That was, I don't know if it was affecting my F1 stuff that much, but yeah, I think yeah, if you put that much time into it for a period of time, you start to lose interest. I think for younger guys, it's probably easier to spend more time. You still have the motivation and stuff. So, but yeah, I find it just easier to just focus on one thing at the moment. And yeah.
See, I feel like we share the same mentality for sim racing, but my issue is I'm just not as quick as you. And so that's why people see, when I hear it from you, I'm like, see, I was right the whole time, but people will never listen to me because I was never quick. You know, that's the difference there. Like, I'll never enter a race unless I'm going to enjoy it, and unless I'm 100% ready, setup's ready. And I know it sounds stressful to people. It's not OCD, but I think it's just wanting to, you know, you're not a sloppy person. You don't want to go out there and say, hey, look, I've got 55,000 starts. Did you see those iRacing stats the other day? There was some guy on Oval who had like 5,000 starts or something. I don't know. That was crazy. But then again, if you bring up Michael Jordan from the NBA in the 90s, I think if Michael Jordan didn't quit the NBA for 2 years and go to baseball, I don't think he would have been as great as he was. Like, he needed that mental break. And I'm not saying you've quit anything, but I'm saying that's the sort of thing that you needed right now, is a sort of mental break and just doing the iRacing World Championship. And you don't get bored during the year from just racing one car?
To be honest, it gets a bit boring, especially just grinding out the practice. I mean, the practice is the worst thing. I always enjoy the races and the competition, but especially through the summer, it gets a bit difficult to keep up the motivation. You basically have to, I mean, if you don't have time during the day, I mean, I'm on the PC all day working, and then in the evening you have to do some practice for an hour or so. So you're grinding like for 2 weeks for a race. So yeah, it gets a bit
draining.
Yeah. But I don't know. Thing with the WCS is also we've pretty much stayed the same for 10 years. I mean, we've had 1 or 2 new cars, and maybe you get a new track or 2 in a year, but usually you're doing the same thing. So I would like to actually see more of variety of maybe cars and tracks and stuff like that. So, but yeah, let's see which way it goes. I have to make some decisions about next year as well. What I want to do. I mean, you look at my teammates, they are doing different stuff, so at this point, I would also maybe like to do like more one-off events where you don't have to grind it out for weeks and stuff. So, but yeah, let's see what happens this year and next year.
Yeah. Let's talk about that then now. Let's talk about WCS. You weren't at the race yesterday. Tech issues you had, the weather was terrible. I mean, I don't know how I can explain this. You're too afraid to switch on the PC. It's your work computer, and now you're a race behind in the championship. I just, like, you must be feeling like shit, obviously.
Yeah, it was disappointing to miss the race. I think I would have taken the risk if I didn't use this PC for work as well. But I think usually it's okay, nothing breaks. But if you get unlucky and something breaks, it would have been a major pain for me to recover from that for working and stuff. So yeah, it was a really difficult decision to miss out the race. But yeah, at the moment I feel like I should have taken the risk, but yeah, it's easy to say afterwards. Yeah, now the championship is, yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I think you're 104 points behind now. So it's race win is 100 points. But it's still possible. It's not, it's not out of the question. 5 races.
Yeah, I just have to win the rest of the races. So. And yeah, I haven't been doing that much winning in the last 2 years, so.
No, 1 win.
So yeah, it's a bit of an uphill struggle, but also a couple of bad tracks for us coming up. So yeah, it's things are a bit against me at the moment, but I'll keep pushing.
You've never lost at Watkins Glen, and that was the only win you've had in the past 2 seasons. Do you like what's going on there? Does the setup suit your style or something, or do you just love that racetrack? I hate Watkins Glen. I love driving the racetrack, but I can never set up the car properly.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't hate the track anymore. I think I'm starting to like it now, but yeah, it's not my favorite track, so and I don't think it really suits my driving style or anything. So it's something mysterious going on there.
So this year now, you spoke about your teammates before. The one thing I want to ask you about is Bono Haas. He joined the team, when was it, 2017 or was it late 2016? I can't remember. And
yeah, I think it was 2016 probably.
Yeah, like mid-year or something. A lot of people compared him to you because he was sort of like the FSR 5-time champion, but I think you're 2 completely different people, and I think the only similarities you both share are the 5 titles and your talent and everything else. But do you feel that way when he joined the team? Did you see any similarities? Because I still feel like your driving style is different between the both of you.
Yeah, I think the driving style is probably the biggest difference. Bono seems to like a really understeery car, so our setups didn't always work for each other. So, but yeah, I think in the end he didn't really enjoy driving the car the way it is in iRacing at the moment. Yeah, he decided to do some other things.
Olli Pakala, has he been your closest Redline teammate over the years, or has it been somebody else?
It's tough to say. I mean, Olli has been there for a few years now, so yeah, you could say he's one of the closest. Also, Alexi, they joined at the same time. So
the Glacier recruitment, both of them, both from Glacier.
Yeah. Back in the Williams days, they were really quick with that car at some tracks, so good to have them in the team. They are great guys, so we've had some fun at different events like the Las Vegas event. So
yeah, I'm on. I might be one of the only people left on Alexi Island where I still think Yusiako can win a world championship. Is there a reason why he's not a world champion? Do you see something wrong? Can you tell him, like, I think the biggest issue with him is he just keeps crashing out of races that he should be winning or being on the podium for.
Yeah, I think he's pretty busy during the summer, so he has a tough time keeping up, and of course he hasn't done races recently, so
You lose
I
that
think
edge.
I think if he would keep it up, like keep grinding out the practice, he would be up there in every race. Yeah, he's had a few incidents and crashes, so if he could improve that, yeah, he would be right up there.
Does Verstappen still stick around, or was he just a sort of 2-month guy and he's not really around Redline anymore?
Yeah, he hasn't really been around lately, but I think during the off season for him, he does some practice with some of our guys, so yeah, he's around every now and then.
Yeah, I know he's got he's very good friends with Graham Carroll. And I was very surprised, by the way, Graham Carroll, your teammate, gets drafted by a Formula One team. And you had who else got drafted? Ollie Packler did. Am I forgetting anybody now? Was it just Graham and Ollie who got made it to the F1 esports draft?
Yeah, also I think it was Mihal from our GT team.
Oh yeah, yes.
So yeah,
three guys.
We had three guys in there and all got drafted. So that's pretty sweet. Feels
Yeah,
like I
that.
should have done that as well.
Yeah, well, you should have. But that's where I feel now. I was speaking to Dom earlier on in the year, and obviously he couldn't say much because everything was confidential. But I thought, I was telling him, Team Redline, you guys need to partner with an F1 team ASAP, and because now what you can do is you can have that partnership. So have a Team Redline is the esports team, and you're affiliated with, let's say, like, I don't know, Red Bull Racing, for example, or Mercedes. And I'm like, that's a great way to get involved. But I think now you can't really do that anymore because of the contract and all the negotiations revolved around F1 esports. I think it would have been a good incentive to have for you guys.
Yeah, I'm not really into all that F1 stuff, so I don't know the details, but I can see it going that way in the future, virtual teams working with F1 teams, and I think it's already happening I think Jim is involved with Williams and stuff like that, so I think it's going to happen more and more in the future. And it's going to be interesting to see how this next season of that F1 stuff goes, so I'm not sure. I might look into that maybe next year or something, but yeah, let's see how it goes. All of those guys are quite a bit younger than me, so
Oh, actually,
yeah, I
true,
feel
actually.
like I can still do it.
No, yeah, there's no, like, people now, the thing I hate most about you is people like, oh, Greger's, he's not good anymore and this kind of stuff. But I'm like, wait a second, he's still finishing like second in all these races, Just because you've only won one race in the past 2 years, it's like the only guys that can arguably be quicker than you at the moment is probably Martin and Mitchell. I don't know if that criticism, like, you obviously don't listen to that because you know how quick you are. But do you feel like you're slowing with age, or is it just the practice time that you need?
No, I think I'm pretty much as fast as before. Yeah, it's just about the practice time, finding the motivation to do it for every race.
Same shit as usual.
Yeah, and I think if I put in the time and figure out everything with the car, because I think this car we're using now in WCS, it's a bit more involved than the Williams, so you have to put in more time to figure out everything for a race, and then also find some time to figure out the qualifying stuff. Has been kind of we haven't put as much time in the qualifying stuff as we probably should have, but I mean, the race is more important, so we have to focus on that, and then what we can with qualifying. I mean,
yeah, you've never been that bad of a qualifier. I think it's just the recent years, as you said, because you've had.
I think with this car, yeah.
Yeah, because you had 58 race wins, 47 poles in your career, and I'm like, that's not that bad of a difference, and it's It's better than the Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton's my favorite driver, but it frustrates me how he's got more poles than race wins. You've got it the other way around.
Yeah, I guess it's always better to be good in the race than in qualifying, but yeah, I think with the Williams I was alright in qualifying as well, so maybe we are missing something with qualifying. Maybe it's just we don't put in enough time into it. Yeah, it would be good to figure it out for the remaining races this year.
You know what I don't think suits you is the switch to new cars. Because what I noticed was when I joined FSR back in 2014, we switched to R Factor 2 for the first time and a new car. And so for me coming in as a rookie, I said, oh, this is great. I don't have to gain 10 years of R Factor 1 knowledge, which I don't have. I can start from scratch from R Factor 2 and I'm on the same level as everybody else. And now I can develop the setup, learn the sim. And I feel like that's what sort of hampers you a lot is you got so used to the Williams. And now with the McLaren, with less testing time, you just can't get that. And this is a complicated car, with the McLaren. It's not easy to set up with the eRace and all this bull crap. And it happened again. Remember in 2011, you lost the World Championship that year to Hugo because, again, another car change.
Yeah, I think it just also depends on the car, the way you need to drive it. I mean, with the McLaren, I actually had to change my driving style quite a bit because before with the Williams, I was using some throttle under braking, and with the McLaren you can't do that anymore because the ERS won't regen, and you lose quite a bit because of that. So I basically had to change my driving style completely to suit this car, and I think that was back in 2016, kind of towards the end of the season when I did that driving style change. Yeah, there's been a bit of a learning curve there, and maybe there is still some things to find out, but I think, I mean, it's just myself at the moment pretty much doing the work for our team in the series, break as well, but the other guys are focusing on other stuff, so the more people you have, of course, it's easier to figure things out. But
that's why now it's hard to call Team Redline the second best team anymore because it's only really you and Frake occasionally showing up every now and then. But it's hard now because you're like, oh, Apex Racing UK, there's like 7 drivers there. How many do they have? 4 or 5 now active that are racing. And you're like, oh, look, this is actually a different team, but it's like Greger Huttu is the only Redline driver. It's like, is that a team or is that a driver? But how was the team when everybody was active? How did the team work? Was everybody responsible for all areas? Like everyone had input to the setup? Did you have one base setup for all drivers? Because I noticed that doesn't work with some teams. There'll be half the drivers will like one driver's setup, and then half the drivers will like another driver's setup, and you're basically developing 2 different setups in the same team, which is never a good sign.
Yeah, I think we had some kind of a base setup, but like I said, Bono, he likes a more understeer car than me, for example, so you always have to make some changes, and you kind of go a different way with the setup, so. But yeah, I mean, everyone's working on different areas of the car. There's not like one driver focusing on the aero or suspension stuff. Everyone was pretty much working on all over the car. So then kind of put things together and hopefully find something in the setup. But you don't have like a specialty area for a certain guy.
What's the true story about 2013 Indianapolis? That's the race where the infamous, and it had to be at Indianapolis, didn't it? Where all these people protested. Any secrets to the story from that race?
I think it just got blown up a bit too much. I don't really remember all the details. I guess we just wanted to break in the summer,
Oh man, that's like when was it? 05 in Formula One. Same thing happened, and then you cost the virtual fans a chance to race. No, I'm just messing around. In 2014, by the way, you had 2 poles all season. We spoke about qualifying before, and yet you still won the championship. That season was kind of weird because then I remember I watched that. I wasn't commentating at the time, but the race at Circuit of the Americas with the crash on the start line too. Like that wasn't an easy season for you. You had a lot of wins in the mid part of the season. Obviously, Hugo retired halfway through, And then you ended the season quite horribly there. That season was not like the other ones where it was quite comfortable.
Yeah, that end of the season was, I don't know what went wrong there. Just things happening, I guess. I think we had a crash at Suzuka.
Yep.
With, I think it was Andre Butcher. And yeah, just things going wrong. I was still putting in the time and practice, so it wasn't like I was slacking off or anything. But sometimes you get into a bad groove and you can't get out of it. But luckily, it was enough to win the championship still.
You spoke about the World Championship earlier being the same over the past 10 years. What would you change the most? Apart from the prize money, of course.
Well, I think this is kind of personal preference.
Qualifying format?
It might be good to have a more exciting format, like maybe something like in F1 currently.
The knockout, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would make it a winter series. That's just a personal preference. Because it sucks racing through the summer every other weekend basically.
Oh wow.
Especially here because the summer is pretty short. But maybe other people feel differently. But yeah, I think I would make the season a bit shorter. Maybe 8 races, 1 race per month. Maybe that's too little, but I think the time you have to put in to practice, that would make it a bit easier and stuff. So you would have some time to relax between the races. So 8 races, one per month, it would still be
oh man,
it would still be like almost a year long.
Oh, what am I listening
season.
to? I don't want to hear this. I don't want to. Last year I was sick of 12, but 14 is this year I like the 14, but I think when you get to Formula 1, Formula 1 has to be 16 to 20 per year. I can't dedicate my life. I love Formula 1, but I can't dedicate 23 weekends of my year with all the interviews, the practice sessions, and everything watching Formula 1. I want to do other stuff in my life too. I don't just want to watch it. F1.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's fine if it's your job, but you're still doing it as a hobby, pretty much. Sure, you have some prize money at the end, but I think it's not really worth it to spend all your evenings almost to all year, all summer, practicing and stuff. So I would make it a bit easier on that front. Yeah, I think those two things, winter series, shorter season, maybe change the car every now and then, so you don't drive the same car for 5 years or something. I mean, I was getting bored with the Williams, so I was happy to see the change to the new car, even though I was winning races with the Williams and being really competitive with it, but I wanted a change.
Yeah. You've known Dom Doohan, by the way, since the early 2000s. What's his greatest quality? As not just a team manager, but a person. Is it his loyalty or is it something else?
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Surely he has good qualities. Are you saying he doesn't?
Yeah, I don't know if he does, really.
Oh, he's what I like about Dom is just he sticks up for his drivers to the max. You guys, when did you meet, by the way? You guys met back you used to race together? Were you teammates?
I think I was still doing GPL back then, and he sent me a message if I wanted to join team. I actually meeting him in person for the first time was back in 2011, I think. So.
Oh wow.
That was quite a while after meeting online, I guess. So.
That wasn't at one of your all you Finnish sim races get a meet together, and you all, I don't know. Will Vincent's told me some crazy stories from those those meet-togethers. He didn't go to one of those, did he, Dom? Otherwise, he wouldn't come out alive.
Yeah, I've been in one of those Well, I've been in them 1 or 2 times, but yeah, Dom wasn't there. We met in. Actually, we went to Germany for the Intel GP iRacing competition back in 2011. So I went to London first, and then we went to Germany for that event. So that's the first time I met him.
By the way, you've competed in World's Fastest Gamer and the Visa Vegas eRace. Which one was better out of the two?
I think it was the Vegas eRace because you won a lot more money.
Yeah. Well, what did you win? Where did you finish in the end of that race?
I think I was 6th or something, which was actually a good result after sucking in practice really badly. But I put it together in qualifying, and then yeah, the race was kind of a mess too. Of course, with the real racers there, they are they race all over the place, and they are pretty aggressive. So yeah, I was pretty happy to finish in P6 in the end. I think I had some damage, one wheel missing or something like that. And but yeah, I won like 30k or something.
Can you believe it that Bono Haas won more money than you won winning 5 world championships, and he won that in one race? He's pretty good.
That's kind of unfair.
Yeah, it is. He owes you at least a little bit of that. Just to sort of, how Ferrari has that in the prize money for Formula One, they just have money because they're just Ferrari. I think you deserve that for every sim race. Bono Haas 200k, but 10 of this k will go to Greger Huttu just because he's the god of sim racing.
Yeah, I tried to get him to buy me a few beers at least, but he's really cheap, so he didn't do it. Yeah.
Boo. I tried to get him on this podcast. He's too shy. I don't like that. I want to get him on. He's like someone where he's like you in a way. I just have so much to talk to him about because he's just got that he's got that history, but he's that personality where he'll never do the public stuff. He's a bit like Sebastian Vettel in a way, but just more like Sebastian Vettel off the track. He doesn't have social media or anything, but Bono's like that on camera too, whereas Vettel's a bit more flamboyant on camera. I don't know. I'm psychoanalyzing Bono here. I feel unfair. Point is, you did the Visa Vegas eRace. Are you still in touch with Jaguar, by the way? Because you guys collaborated a lot with those teams together.
Yeah, not so much anymore. Still maybe send a couple of messages here and there on Twitter or something. I still follow them, of course. And I think they're doing better in the Formula E recently, so that's great to see. They invited me to go there, to go to their factory in the UK, so maybe I'll do that next time I'm there. That would be cool.
So why weren't you? I know this question will piss you off, but why weren't you as quick in the Visa Vegas eRace? Do you think it was the lack of practice time, or was it the public simulators? Was it a combination of those factors? I feel like you're a guy where, it doesn't matter if you can't be quick in the first 10 minutes, but I feel like if you give everyone, let's say, 20 hours of practice, I still feel like you'd be the quickest.
Yeah, I think as you get older, it gets harder to adapt quickly. No, I don't. I'm not sure if that's the reason, but I mean the simulators there, they used TVs, so they had horrible input lag,
V-Sync?
and that really, I'm not sure, but probably yeah. That stuff really hurts me. I need a really direct feel of the car, the front of the car especially. So if there's input lag and I can't really feel anything, it gets really tough for me. So I think that was the biggest reason. I was really struggling in practice actually. I thought I'll be last or something, but I kind of put it together in qualifying. I was even faster than some of my teammates, or at least faster than Enzo, which I'm happy about. So, but yeah, it was looking really bad for a while, but in the end I kind of put it together and got a decent result out of it.
World's Fastest Gamer though, who'd you meet there? Fernando Alonso and Jenson Button. Anybody else?
We actually didn't meet those guys.
Oh, you didn't?
We had a we had a quick chat with Stoffel, with Rudy. We saw him in the hotel lobby. So quick chat with him. But yeah, Fernando and Jensen, they weren't around. So, but yeah, Mika Häkkinen was there. So that was a cool thing. Had a chat with him. Actually, did a little kind of a talk with him on cameras stuff. So yeah, pretty cool stuff being around that factory. All those people and cars.
You bring up Mika Häkkinen. If you're Michael Schumacher, who's your Mika Häkkinen? The most feared driver you ever faced over the years? Roy Colby, Kroenke?
Yeah, sure. Martin is one, I guess, recently. Also Hugo. I mean, we had a lot of close races over the years. So, yeah, I think Hugo and Martin probably. It would have to be those two.
He's actually... He's online right now. He's just probably asleep. I think he's been he's covering the Spa 24 hours for RaceSpot TV. He's done he's set up a career for himself out of retirement. He's done the whole broadcasting stuff. But I think the thing is, Hugo always wanted to do that. He's got a passion for the broadcasting and the TV and all, the media world. He was pretty good though, back when he could dedicate himself to racing.
Yeah, he needs to make a comeback to sim racing. It would be cool to have him back. But yeah, I've been following the RaceSpot stuff, and he's doing a great job there. So it's cool to see him doing well there.
What were we talking about before? World's Fastest Gamer. I was like, how did we drift onto Hugo? Oh, we're talking about Hackett and everybody. Anything else that happened at World's Fastest Gamer? Any funny stories from the trip?
I don't think. There was a lot of waiting around. So that's the thing I remember.
Oh God.
A lot of waiting and then some action, interviews, competitions. We did 24 hours of Le Mans there. So I was sleeping under some table at some point.
Oh man.
That was pretty tough. And I don't like Le Mans at all, driving it. So
no, I hate it too. That's me.
Boring.
Like, can you sit through a 24-hour race? I can never do those. I'm just not interested.
No. I'm not really a fan of endurance racing.
No.
I mean, the 6-hour races and stuff like that are fine, but 24 hours is long. The real Le Mans is full race. And I watch like the start and watch here and there and watch the finish. But the racing itself doesn't really grab me so much as like an F1 race, sprint race. Like I said, I'm an open wheel guy, so that's the thing I'm interested in. And so yeah, I like to watch F1, IndyCar, and that kind of stuff.
No, that's why I told you at the start of the podcast, you're in like 7 of at least my top 20 sim racing moments. You're in like 7 of them. Because it's like, I'm all open wheels and Formula One. Like if that's not like all these, no offense to endurance racing. I mean, it's still cool and there's still that fan base, but I just like I just can't sit there for 24 hours. I'd rather be doing other stuff in my life. Like we talked about before. Like you watch a 90-minute F1 race. That's not bad. I'll take that. And the good thing about Formula One races is it's got a great balance between, when you watch a sport like baseball, for example, you sort of sit there with beers and you're not really paying attention to the game. But Formula One has a little bit of, I'm going to talk to my friend for 2 minutes, but then I'm still going to be engaged watching the race at the same time. It's got that great balance between the two. I think it's a great sport to watch on your own. Also a great sport to watch with like a bunch of 5 or 6 friends.
Yeah, and of course F1 is not always that exciting. You get some pretty boring races. But when it's really good, it's really good. I mean when you make I think the thing is with overtaking in F1, you don't want to have too much of it. Because that kind of that makes one overtake less important. But I mean, F1 compared to NASCAR, if you make an overtaking move in F1 in the beginning of the race, it can be the deciding moment of the race. You never know. So, but in NASCAR, you kind of wait for the last moments of the race when the action starts. So that's what I like about F1 and also IndyCar. Can get the race deciding moment right at the start of the race as well. So
IndyCar's been getting better over the years. I think that's a sport where, like, I'm looking forward to see what they do with that format. I think there's a lot of potential that still hasn't been extracted with IndyCar. I still think they're recovering from the kart days and the merger and the split and everything. So, still the effect's still going on now. But I'm telling you, IndyCar in 2020 and beyond is a big one. But F1 now, we're recording this podcast, by the way. We got, was it 2 hours until race start for Silverstone? It's not Silverstone, for Hockenheim.
Okay, yeah.
That's
2 hours.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched qualifying yesterday because you had nothing else to do. Obviously, you were probably crying about not racing.
Yeah, I was crying watching the end of the qualifying.
Yeah.
And of course, Vettel on pole. Kimi messing up his lap as usual. Bottas did a great lap, I think. I liked his last corner. He was sliding around through the exit. So
yeah, the rear end.
I think Bottas is doing a really good job this year. I think he's been the unluckiest driver, actually. He could even be leading the championship if he had better luck. So
yeah, what did he have? He had Baku, the engine. He should have won that race. He had the puncture, sorry.
Yeah.
And what was another race where he didn't have the luck or something? There was another race as well. I can't remember.
Yeah, there's been a couple. Yeah, can't remember at the moment.
So obviously you're a big fan of the Finnish drivers. I've never known your favorite driver of all time. It's not Häkkinen, is it?
I think it would have to be, Häkkinen, because when I started watching F1, he was starting in F1 as well, back in the early 90s. So I would have to say he's the all-time favorite for me. Of course, Kimi is good. I think Häkkinen is actually the faster of them. I don't know. Well, you can't really compare two drivers from different eras. Yeah. I think Häkkinen was kind of better in qualifying, and maybe Kimi is a better racer. But now Kimi is the same age as me, so he doesn't have the edge anymore. Like people say always. I don't really believe that, but no.
Well, I don't know.
I think Ferrari has really suited his driving style ever. I think McLaren was the car he was really suited to.
Yeah, even 07 when he won the championship, he really only won that championship because Alonso and Hamilton tripped over each other. Like that McLaren should have won the title, but Raikkonen obviously was consistent. He was a good racer. But you're right. Like I feel like his 05, 06 McLaren days, he should have won the 05 championship if he didn't have reliability issues.
Yeah. There was that Nürburgring race as well. He blew up the tire at, was it the last lap or something?
Yeah, last lap, first corner.
Oh yeah, that sucked. But also in 2008, he had a really good start to the season. The first half, I think they changed the car or suspension or something, and then the second half, Felipe Massa was better than him. So yeah. I don't really like the Ferrari F1 team. Something dodgy about them.
Same. I've always been against them in a good way. You always want them there because you want someone to hate, but you still love them. There's like, for example, you got to meet Häkkinen. Like I would be going crazy. Like if I met Lewis Hamilton and I want to have a podcast with him, I spoke about you being in my top 20 sim racing moments. You're in like 7 of them. Lewis Hamilton's in like 7 of my top 20 life moments. Like, I don't know if I need to get a better life or not, but he's made that big of an impact. Like the 08 title, like that was like, what was it, 5 a.m. or whatever at the time? Because the Brazilian Grand Prix for us is from 3 a.m. race start time or something. And then I just remember like, I couldn't be loud, but I was just jumping up and down. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? He just won the title. Like, is this real? I didn't know what to believe. That was crazy at the time. He was
Yeah, that was a crazy finish on the last lap, right?
Yeah.
Was it Timo Glock he overtook?
Well, he stayed out. People think Timo Glock sabotaged the championship. I'm like,
Oh,
Timo
yeah.
Glock was actually trying to sabotage Lewis's championship by not pitting. If he pitted, Lewis would have had the position anyway, regardless of Vettel passing him. But is that so? What's the greatest F1 race you've seen before we go?
Oh man,
There's a lot. Oh wait, Brazil was pretty good.
that would have to be one.
When did
Trying
you
to
start
think
watching?
of some Finnish wins that would have been really epic. Yeah, I started watching F1 in '92, I think.
The Mansell.
When Häkkinen was at Lotus at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough to say. It's been so many races.
Quick fire questions before we go. Do you? I mean, this is a weird question. How many offers a year do people still offer you to switch teams every year or every month or something in 2018? Are people still brave enough to say, hey, why don't you come over to this weird team? It's called Team Coanda or whatever. Coanda Simsport. We're sort of like a rival team. You may have heard of us. Come join us. Do they still do that to you?
Yeah, actually, the other day I got an offer from Coanda for $1 million to try for them.
Should have taken it. You would have earned more money than Bono Haas in a Visa Vegas eRace.
Yeah, that's actually my life goal at the moment, to beat Bono in winnings. No, actually I haven't gotten any offers in the recent years. So I think people are seeing me stuck with Team Redline, so they don't even make an offer anymore. So
yeah, that's like I'm not trying to suck up to you, but I was like, you've got to a point where you're so good now and so established that I think people would be too afraid to message you a team offer. I tried to message you on the iRacing forums. Your inbox is full anyway, so you might be getting offers, so you just don't know about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I have to clear that inbox.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
I don't know if people are afraid. I'm actually a pretty friendly person, so you don't have to be afraid of me.
A pretty friendly person who likes fishing and does it every now and then.
I actually haven't done any for the last couple of years, so.
Oh wow, isn't that one of your best hobbies though, to go fishing?
Yeah, that's pretty much all we do in Finland. There's nothing else to do, so.
Stop bantering around. Last thing, what fascinated me was you have your own Finnish Wikipedia page. I've never met a sim racer who's had a Wikipedia page. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, I do. I haven't seen that actually.
Yeah, well, it's not that big. It doesn't talk about where you grew up and this kind of stuff. It just says he races in sim racing for Team Redline and iRacing, whatever, and that's it. But
Maybe I created it.
Yeah, well, maybe you did.
Being drunk sometime.
James
remember.
James Sadler, who used to be my team manager at GoSpeed, he went to Stoffel Van Dorn's Wikipedia page in 2014 or something and said, oh, and Stoffel also raced in Formula Sim Racing in 2012. And it was on there for about 3-4 years. No one took it off. I don't think it's there anymore. But you can do that. You can edit your own profile and just say greatest of all time driver or something and make yourself look good.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to try that.
Anything else before we go? Plug yourself. You're not really active on Twitter, are you? Or Facebook, Instagram, anywhere else you think you might be on the internet?
Yeah, I don't really do social media that much, especially Facebook. I post a message on Twitter once a year or something. But yeah, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on, I think Twitter is the best place. So yeah, and shout out to our team sponsors, Fanatec, who just kind of announced a new direct drive wheel. I was actually looking at it this morning. That should be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like that. And Team Redline website, was that teamredline.co.uk?
.co.uk, yeah.
Yeah, that's biased. You should be just .com. You guys should be diverse. No, I'm just messing around. Don't worry.
Dom is so,
so
national.
British.
Yeah.
That's who he is. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Simon Racing Report. You can catch it at thesimonracingreport.com, or you can find the links to the YouTube channel, iTunes, Stitcher, the RSS feed at the website too. And you can catch the podcast there, of course, as well as any other area you find your MP3 recorded podcasts or whatever file format pleases you. Please like the podcast on Facebook. And if you're not sharing these podcasts, liking them, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, wherever, please do so. Yeah, and please give a rating on Stitcher or iTunes for the entire podcast itself. I mean, that would really help us out as well. Don't forget, of course, to follow me on Twitter at JohnnyS8, JohnnyESS8. And I also heard that you'll be very pleased to retweet this podcast for me. Agree? Thank you. There's probably someone screaming, "No, you idiot, I'm not doing that." And whatever. I really enjoyed this one with Greger. He actually, for 1 hour to get out of Greger Huttu, I'm amazed. He doesn't really speak for that long, but he's not your typical Finn either. He's quite different in a change, and I think that resembles in the 1 hour podcast we're able to extract out of him. He's definitely the greatest of all time. Happy to have him on. Let's get him on again sometime in the future. For now, though, definitely some great upcoming podcasts coming soon. We know it's mid-season, well, summer break for Formula One. I think it's a better way to put it. And we've got, I don't want to say it, I almost slipped a few names there, but we've got some good names coming on this podcast shortly in the future. Don't miss it, of course. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, do whatever you got to do. Use the contact form at thesimonracingreport.com if you have any questions or would just like to let me know about your Saturday night out or something like that. Take care, and we'll catch you soon.